everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are having an amazing day. If you're new here, hi, I'm Liz, aka My Pastel Past, and I'm back with another speed build video. Today we are working on this cliffside that is right behind this ice cream truck stop that I made earlier last week. This entire build was done on stream on Sunday, so if you would like to see that stream and the process of how we got to where we are with this build, I'll be sure to put that in the description below. It was a lot of fun being able to interact with chat and getting everyone's opinions on how to go with this build, especially when it came to this kind of fake building area. I wasn't sure if I liked the panels that I had made or if I liked it with the windows or without the windows. So we went back and forth a lot. We ended up deciding on using these windows and then using the medieval wall behind it just to kind of create this roof dynamic. What I was really going for with this was when you're running down the path down below for it to look almost like housing and then shops below. I did not get to the shop part in this build. I'll be doing that later on just because I do need to make some other custom design codes for that. But that is kind of the idea for it. Now, an interesting thing about this build in particular is that it was originally supposed to be a cliffside restaurant. That I had full intentions of making this a cliffside restaurant. Yet somehow instead we ended up making a gorgeous, elegant courtyard sitting area instead with a fountain. So I don't really know where or how that happened exactly, but somehow, some way, it changed and it became a seating area. Behind those buildings that I made, I'm just kind of adding some fencing and these castle gates to kind of build almost like a secondary room. This was originally going to be where I had some seating or even like a garden behind the restaurant itself. I ended up just kind of going with that idea, and instead of having it as like restaurant seating, I just made it into seating entirely. So we're using the castle gates mixed with these blue lattice fences almost to give like a balcony effect overlooking the rest of the island. I have no idea what I'm going to build behind this area, but I think I need to have some sort of waterfall or like something really pretty to overlook this balcony. So if you have ideas for what I can put there, please let me know in the description down below because I need ideas. I'm a little bit stumped. But we're just kind of working on the pathing now. It was really hard getting the spacing for this area because I had so many big walls already placed. So it was one of those things where I couldn't quite see the bottom half of the path when I was placing it. And that just kind of made making the spacing really hard. And I'm also just placing down some sand so that I can place trees. I don't know why I thought I wanted to have 3 trees at the bottom. It would have completely covered the build. I ended up only putting 1 tree at the bottom just so you could actually still see the seating area and the fountain for this area. It's really interesting having all of these paths and like the building almost. I've never done like a building inside of a building. I've hidden things before. On my last Pink Core Island, I hid almost all of my villager homes inside of these fake buildings. So I'm used to doing things like that because I've done it before, but this, I've never made a separate room behind a fake building. So I hope that it looks all right. I think it looks kind of decent. At this point, again, I was realizing that I needed to extend the path a little bit more because I did want to almost wall it off to make this its own separate little area. I kind of envisioned the seating area to have almost like a glass dome roof on it if it was to be built in real life that just has some hanging plants and vines from the ceiling. I don't know why, that's the kind of vibe it gives me. That's the image I think of with it. So I was really going for something bright and airy when it came to this build. And then trying to figure out how to connect the paths together was also really tricky. I didn't want the path to take over this area. It kind of ended up taking over anyway, but that's okay. I'll end up just adding a little bit of nature and flowers to the outside where the paths connect later on. I didn't do that in this video just because I really wanted to focus on the seating area of the build itself. Placing these paths can be so tedious. There's so many different parts to these paths, and it's just like, oh my goodness, just let me place all of my paths at once, but I have to keep going back and switching them. But I think in the end, it looks really good. I wasn't sure at first if I wanted to use this stone path that I made, or if I wanted to use like the wood dock kind of, or deck almost that I made in a previous video, or not in a previous video, in a previous stream. I ended up doing the stones. I think it looks really good. I might end up switching it out just to see what it would look like with the wood instead, but I think I'm gonna keep it with the stone. I just like how the stone texture looks with everything else. It looks very detailed, and it kind of draws the eye down to where the fountain and the seating area is instead of where the walls and the castle gates are. So I kind of like that aspect of it, but who knows? I might change it later on, we'll have to see. It'll be an experiment for sure. This is what I mean when I said I made the mistake of placing trees down below, because that one tree was way too out in the open. It covered too much of the build. I ended up having to take it away. And then I'm so happy I actually made it so you can walk all the way around the fountain and actually sit on the sofas. So this seating area is actually functional for once. I have a really bad habit of when I'm doing these builds, I accidentally make them to be non-functional, meaning that you can't actually sit and walk through it. If you happen to tour or go through the dream address of my last Pink Core island, you might have noticed that I had certain areas like the seating around Nook's Cranny and the Able Sisters, as well as the seating area at my cafe. They were actually not accessible. You could not sit down or move around in them at all. And that's just because I had such a small space to work with, and I was trying to fit in so many different items within that space that I was just no longer able to actually sit down and move around the space. So it was really nice to finally have a build that is functional and pretty. So it looks all nice and well decorated, but you can still actually move around and walk through it. And I think that's something that I'm going to really challenge myself to do for this island, is to make almost everything walkable or functional. Like you can sit in almost everything and still like have a use for it. And then this is what I mean when I say I'm just adding a few little details of nature to this area. I don't end up finishing it. I just place down some trees. I'll end up going back and working on that a little bit later. But this is the final build. I absolutely love how the seating area turned out. I think it's absolutely adorable, and I cannot wait to keep building and working on the rest of my island. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like this content and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I post 3 times a week on Saturday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and I try to stream as much as possible here on YouTube. Hopefully I'll get back into my Twitch schedule soon enough. But with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!